Welcome to the subject of high voltage engineering. In this subject, we will see what is high voltage, why we need high voltage, what are the levels of high voltage, application of high voltage, and what are the different types of electrical insulation and dielectric mediums. So, voltages are classified as low voltage, high voltage, very high voltage, extra high voltage, and ultra high voltage. However, the exact magnitude of these voltages may vary from country to country. So, throughout the voltage, 440 volt and above is considered as high voltage since it is dangerous to the human being. Meanwhile, we can classify the voltages as below 11 kV it is considered as low voltage, 11 kV to 100 kV it is high voltage, 100 kV to 400 kV very high voltage, 400 kV and above extra high voltage, and beyond that we will consider it as ultra high voltage. So to study this subject we must know what is ionization, what is electric charge, space charge, volume charge density, electric discharge, electric and magnetic field, electromagnetics, etc. In this subject we will study the breakdown strength of various insulating materials. Insulating materials are nothing but the dielectric materials in which we will have a provision where we could apply a high voltage between the two electrodes. There will be the insulating material and we will test how much voltage stress that particular insulating material can sustain. Means there will be a limit up to which the insulating material will sustain. After that it loses its insulating property. At that time we could say that the breakdown has occurred. The breakdown strength of any dielectric material depends upon composition of dielectric material, presence of impurity imperfections in the dielectric. Then it also depends upon pressure, humidity, temperature, electric field configuration, shape of the electrodes, their shape and gap distance. It also depends upon which type of electrode material is used, for what duration the voltage stress is applied, what is the magnitude of voltage applied. So this high voltage is very dangerous and it should be used very precautionally since it may cause injury or even death. What we are going to learn in this subject is we will learn to test various high voltage equipments like power transformer, bushings, circuit breakers, insulators, cables, etc. Usually these tests are done at a voltage much higher than operating voltage. Generation, measurement and control of different types of HV. We will also learn the what are the causes for the failure of HV equipments due to the high voltage stresses. We will study the various breakdown mechanisms of different insulating materials such as solid, liquid, gaseous, vacuums under different voltage levels. We will test HV equipment like power apparatus, bushings, transformers, circuit breakers, insulators, cables, etc. For that we will need arrangement or facility for high voltage generation. There must be the facility of measurement. There must be methods to control different types of high voltages. Then we will study how the breakdown mechanism varies for different types of insulating materials such as solid, liquid, gaseous, vacuums under different types of voltages such as AC, DC, lightning impulse, surge impulse, etc. So this subject will introduce us about the importance of high voltages in power system in industries and research lab. What are the importance of high voltage in transferring the bulk power transmission? Then there are various applications such as it is required in electrostatic precipitators, X-ray equipment, automobile ignition coil, etc. In research labs, high voltage is used for nuclear research, particle accelerators. It is also used for producing very high voltage using Van de Graaff generators. From HV testing point of view, these high voltages are used to test various insulation, dielectric strength of various insulation material. This high voltage technology may be combined with STATCOM and may be used as HVDC for transmitting bulk power transfer. As we know that power transfer capability increases with increasing the voltage. So need for generating high voltage is in laboratory. Now it is clear that by using this high voltage we can test the strength of various equipments, insulation strength of various equipments such as transformer, bushing of transformer, cables, capacitors, switch gears, etc. to confirm the reliability and efficiency of equipment or product. We also study what are the various safe voltages beyond which a particular instrument may not be operated. So there we will study to determine the voltage margin. Then we will study how the different types of lightning and switching surges can be tested in high voltage laboratories. There are various applications of high voltage engineering such as it is used in electrostatic precipitator, electrostatic covering, electrostatic printing, electrostatic separation, plasma based application, cosmology study of space, jet propulsion laboratory, high voltage or current pulse generator, electrostatic coating of material, electrostatic painting. Here picture shows an example of electrolytic precipitator where the gas flows from lower end to upper end. While flowing through between these two electrodes, the oppositely charged particles in the gas are attracted and get discharged and settle down as dust particle, while clean gas exists through the exit wall. Then advantages and disadvantages of power transmission. High voltage transmission reduces the losses, improves the efficiency, it also improves the voltage regulation. What are the disadvantages? Increased insulation level. With increase in the voltage of transmission, more clearance is required between conductors and ground. Hence, higher towers are required. Now, for understanding the concept of breakdown strength, let us consider the gaseous medium as insulating medium. We know that gases are the simplest and more commonly dielectrics. Dielectric mediums are nothing but the insulating materials. Most of the electrical apparatus use air as the insulating material. There are other examples also where nitrogen, carbon dioxide, freon and sulfur hexafluoride are also used. The maximum voltage applied to the insulation at the moment of breakdown is called as breakdown voltage. What exactly happens during this breakdown process? When electric stress is applied to any insulating material, then the ionization process starts, wherein there will be formation of positive ions and new electrons, and these will continuously flow from cathode to anode and leads to high current. So what is ionization? The process of liberating an electron from a gaseous molecule with the simultaneous production of a positive ion is called ionization. From the figure it is clear that if some ultraviolet light is incident on the surface of cathode, then some electrons may be ejected. These electrons, while they travel towards anode, collide with the gaseous molecule or neutral molecules and convert them into positive ion, and new electrons are created. These new electrons will further produce their own ionization. Now between these two electrodes there are positive ions, there are large number of electrons, there may be some photons, and there may be some metastable atoms. Now these three participants, that is positive ion impact, positive ion, photon and metastable atom, will create their own ionization process. This is called as secondary ionization process. So now there are two ionization processes. Primary ionization process, that is maybe due to collision or due to photoionization, and secondary ionization process is due to positive ion impact, may be due to impact of photon or may be due to impact of metastable atom. In this way there will be two coefficients. First is called as primary ionization coefficient, it is denoted by alpha, and the second one is secondary ionization coefficient, it is denoted by gamma, and this gamma will be sum of gamma 1 plus gamma 2 plus gamma 3. Gamma 1 is due to positive impact of positive ion, gamma 2 is due to impact of photon, gamma 3 is due to the impact of metastable atom. In this way a large number of electrons will flow from cathode to anode, and a particular stage will be occur when the whole gap between cathode and anode bridges or get full with large number of electrons. At this stage the insulating material, that is the gaseous insulating material, loses its insulating property and it starts conducting. At this stage we say that the breakdown of gas has occurred. So in this way the ionization process is very important for understanding the breakdown strength of any insulating material. Insulating material is nothing but the dielectric medium. So ionization may be due to collision, wherein whenever an electron is collide with a neutral atom, and when its ionization energy becomes, when the energy gained during this collision becomes greater than ionization energy, then it gets ionized and new electrons are formed. Ionization by collision once started gets repeated, as the new electrons which produced during this collision will also create their own ionization. Secondly, the ionization may be due to photoionization. When the excited atom emits radiation and electron returns to the lower stage or the ground state, then the ionization takes place. The photon HU plus A is incident on the atom A. It will converted into its in ion. So there H is the Planck's constant, C is the velocity of light, lambda is the wavelength of the incident radiation, and by satisfying the below condition, the ionization process starts. Then the secondary ionization process may be due to the impact of positive ion, may be due to the impact of photons, may be due to the impact of metastable atom. So now it is clear that once the ionization process start, this will result in breakdown of particular insulating material. When the breakdown occurs, there will be a full conducting path between those cathode and anode. For understanding this concept, Townsend's current growth equation is very important. Figure shows that there are two electrodes, cathode and anode, and between these two electrodes, the distance between the electrode is d. So when the electrons get ejected from the cathode, they will travel towards the anode, thus colliding with the gaseous molecules and creating ionization. Let us assume that at x equal to 0, the number of electrons nx equal to n0. Now these electrons will travel towards the anode, and when they travel a distance d, small d, when x is equal to d, then nx will be equal to nd. So the variation of current as a function of voltage was studied by Townsend. He found that current at first increased proportionally as the voltage is increased and then remains constant. At still higher voltage, the current increases exponentially. The exponential increase in current is due to ionization by gas by electron collision. Townsend's current growth equation. So the Townsend's current growth equation depends upon primary ionization coefficient. It is also called as Townsend first ionization coefficient, and it also depends upon Townsend's second ionization coefficient or secondary ionization coefficient. So alpha is the number of electrons produced by an electron per unit length of path in the direction of field. Now let us start with Townsend's current growth equation. Assume that n0 electrons are emitted from the cathode. When one electron collides with the neutral molecule, a positive ion and electrons are formed. This is called as ionizing collision. From figure, at a distance x from the cathode, let the number of electrons be nx. The rate of flow of electrons, that is current, can be written as dnx equal to nx alpha dx. Now rearranging the terms, from right hand side, nx is taken to the denominator of dnx or divided by dnx, and both the sides are integrated. We know that log of 1 by x dx is equal to log base ex. Similarly, by using this relation, we can write integration of dnx by nx is equal to ln nx. ln means natural logarithm, and alpha is taken common, so integration of dx will be x plus integration constant of integration a. So for finding the value of a, apply the initial condition that at x equal to 0, nx will be equal to n0. Now from previous equation, if we put x equal to 0, then alpha into x will become 0 and nx will become n0. So therefore the value of a will be ln n0. Now substituting this value in the previous equation, ln nx alpha equal to alpha x ln n naught. Now rearranging the term, the equation becomes ln nx minus ln n naught equal to alpha x. Now we know the rules of logarithm that log of a minus log b is equal to log a by b. So that term can be written as nx by n naught, ln nx by n naught, and by taking the antilog we will get nx by n naught equal to exponential of alpha x. So nx will be now equal to n naught e to the power alpha x. N naught, number of electrons reaching the anode, x equal to 0 will be, now nx will become nd equal to n naught e to the power alpha d. So the average current in the gap is equal to the number of electrons traveling per second. So now that number of electrons are traveled per second through a distance x equal to d, then the current will be become id equal to I naught e to the power alpha d, since current depends upon the flow of charge. Now I naught is the initial current at cathode, e to the power alpha d is equal to electron avalanche. It represents number of electrons produced by one electron traveling from cathode to anode. Equation 1 is called as the Townsend's current growth equation due to primary ionization coefficient alpha. So this is the initial current id due to primary ionization coefficient. In the next lecture we will continue this topic. We will find current due to secondary ionization coefficient, that is gamma equal to gamma 1 plus gamma 2 gamma 3, and we will sum these two currents, current due to primary ionization coefficient and current due to secondary ionization coefficient, and finally we will calculate the total Townsend's current growth equation. Thank you.